Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 30 of my modded Factorio playthrough. Enjoy! So we've got everything we need on the bus, and now it's time to start making electronics. The tier 2, I believe, we need to work on. But if you notice, it has 3 components in the crafting recipe, and our standard assemblers can only make items with up to 2 ingredients, so we don't have the necessary assembler. And if we go to research, we can look at the electronics assembling machine, which is pretty straightforward to make. And it doesn't say it on here, but I believe it has a maximum of 4 crafting ingredients. So this will allow us to craft the tier 2 circuit boards. And additionally, they're twice as fast as the tier 1 regular assemblers. So there's really no reason not to research those. And in the meantime, there's some housekeeping that we can take care of. First is all of this resin right here. I grossly miscalculated the amount of resin we'd need. Right here on these casting machine or the crafting machines, I thought it was 1 resin a second, but it's actually 1 resin every 4 seconds. So in total, that's 1.5 resin per second that we're going to need. Also, I was thinking of sending resin down the belt onto the bus, and although that's a good idea, we just don't need it right now. I was just thinking we need resin, but that's actually for solder. If we look at the recipe, it's solder and the other solder recipe, and to make rubber and phenolic boards, which are the tier 3 circuits. So we definitely need it, but like just don't need it right now, and it's gonna take up a lot of resources. Resources sitting on the belt, especially when it's something you don't have a huge amount of, like trees, it's substantial. So I want to pick all that up. And since I don't need to worry about doing 6 resin per second, we only need 1.5 resin per second. If we look at these assembling machines, they make 1 resin per second, but they're at a speed of 0.5, so half a resin per second. So these 4 machines right here will do 2 resin a second, and that's enough. That's plenty. So that means that all this other stuff was overkill. So I can easily remove all of it. Cool. The electronics assembler is done. And, you know, it's possible you might have needed this much resin in the future, but I don't want all these resources just sitting in these machines for no reason. I'll leave that light there. I'm not gonna, like, redo all of this just to be slightly more efficient as far as belt usage and all that. I don't see any reason to redo all of this. You know, that's good enough. You know, we could just put the machines back in the future if we needed them. Although I will get rid of all these belts, because belts are expensive. And as far as the resin, I mean, we can throw resin in all these machines, but we still have way too much left over. So what I'm going to do is kind of break this off right here, and let's put some temporary boxes right here. Oops. Temporary light poles. Oops. There we go. Just to fill that up, and then we'll worry about connecting it once all that's got used up. And actually, now that I think about it, I can take all this resin and just throw that in there too. There's no reason why that wouldn't work. Is that all of it? Looks like it. So I'm going to leave this belt here. Just get rid of that flashing. There we go. We're going to use this belt, just not right now, in the future, but I'm going to leave it there to kind of mark and remind myself that it needs to get used. Something we can change is this wood. And if we search for the uses of wood, that one right there, it's to make wooden boards and small electric poles, fiber, which is kind of not related to this, and resin, which we're already making, and vehicle fuel. So really, the only use for wood at this point is to make wooden boards. So again, it was me kind of Like, I'm doing this build a little bit different than my last one. My last one I would make resin on site rather than bussing it. So we really don't even need to bus wood at all. We can just process it straight into wooden boards. And that's pretty straightforward to do. Luckily we have tons of extra assemblers now. Let's see, how many to place? I think we're going to need 4. Let's check the recipe here. Yeah, so it makes 4 wood per second, but it's only running at half speed, so 2 wood. So if we wanted to have 6 per second, then we would get 8 per second by having these 4 machines. That seems pretty good. And what kind of... Let's make sure these belts are correct. Yes. What kind of... inserters. Ha! That's what they're called. What kind of inserters are we going to need? Let's see. It's going to need 1 wood per second going in. And looks like 2 wood boards going out. So it looks like we're going to need reds for this. So let's do the center being the in. So in, long-handed, in. And then we can do out, long-handed. There we go. And let's put a light over here. Alright, let's see if this works. We need to split this wood off here. Just gonna kind of move it from one section to the other here. This might be a little bit better way to do this, but I'm not really concerned. Yep, seems good. And then we'll move that. And then we can connect it. And pick up all the extras. Yeah, looks like they're pretty well balanced. So we can get rid of these other belts we don't need anymore. And put the extra wood back in the boxes. I'll pick up a stack. And actually, now that I think about it, do we even need red for these? Because they're only using, looks like they're only using half of a unit per second. So I think the standard yellow inserters will be fine here. Yeah, sometimes it's a little confusing. It looks correct there. Well, we'll find out later if it's wrong. What else can we do? Well, this part. This part's a little weird. Can straighten that out. See, this kind of thing bothers me. I have to fix it. It's actually pretty straightforward to fix as long as I just reverse the belts here. Or the products anyway. And do this. And now the belts are straight. Much better. Got some extra resin here. Just throw that in there. There's no reason why that belt can't be that way. And now that I think about it, I'm going to disconnect steel. Because I'm worried about us running out of iron. You see, we only have 5.7 sapphirite left. It's 5.7k, so I'm really worried about us running out of iron, so I'm going to keep that disabled for now, because iron is such a, or steel is such a huge iron sink. I really don't want to do that right now. See if we can get rid of some of these resources. So you don't exactly need those belts there. Now I'm just being nitpicky, trying to make things absolutely perfect. See, those look pretty clean. Another thing we can do is do the math to figure out exactly what kind of inserters we're going to need. And we can calculate that based on the energy consumption of a boiler. So if it consumes 3.6 megawatts, that equals 3.6 megajoules per second. And each piece of carbon has 6 megajoules. So we can do some quick math here to find out what kind of inserter we're going to need. So 3.6 divided by 6 is 0.6. And that's plenty within the capacities of a standard yellow inserter. So we can free up some red inserters. There we go. Get rid of the extra carbon. Could also replace these pipes with steel pipes. Doesn't really matter that much right now, but why not? Oops, those are the stones. They look very similar to steel. All good. Except, is that a steel one? That is. Thinking at this point, you should probably reverse these and put iron onto the belt. Because I'm worried about us running out, and I don't think we're going to want to have that sitting there. And we're going to start consuming copper soon, so this isn't really going to work anymore. We're going to want to do a buffer system similar to all the way out here. Similar to that. To how we did it with stone. So we're going to need to move the copper out of here. There we go. And let's see how to do this. Well, we can calculate exactly how many yellow red inserters we're going to need. We have a belt speed of 13.33, and one red inserter works at the exact speed of 1.15 units per second. So that's 11.6. So 12 sounds good. I'll make them steel chests. So 1, 2, and a space. 1, 2, 3. And we need more steel chests. They do kind of use a lot of steel, but I think we'll be okay. We can afford to make a couple of steel chests. Alright, and then we need to put them in on this side. And out on this side. And we need some poles. And some lights would be nice. There isn't a light there. Let's put one there. And then how about down there? Alright, let's grab a stack for our personal uses. And let's do a balancer in here. Why not? And balancer on this side wouldn't hurt either. There we go. Looking good. One other thing we can improve is probably get rid of the center radar, because we don't really have biters within this area. They're like down here and down here, so I don't think this radar is doing a whole lot anymore. These other radars are the ones doing all the distance scanning, so we can save a little bit of electricity here. See, oh, yep, but we need that by getting rid of that radar right there. It's just a slight improvement. But an improvement nonetheless. Looks like there is a light there, but I'll put one there anyway. Okay. I think we're good to start on the bus here. But it looks like we're out of time, so I'll see you at the next episode.